The Fantasy Fanatics Podcast on SportsTownChicago.com. Welcome back to Fantasy Fanatics on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
While we got some time, before we go to our second break, we can look at some of the things in our league, which could be similar to your league, maybe not, but this is Fantasy Fanatics. We have to talk about fantasy. And this is the final week of the regular season. Weeks 15, 16, and 17 will consist of the 3 rounds of the playoffs.
I believe I had 3 players yesterday.
I can look real quick for you. You are currently beating the Vagabonds.
Oh, well, that's an easy game.
36-16. You are projected to win 127-89. We'll see how close that is to the projections.
If I win and you win, who wins our division?
That I don't know. I think you would win because you've beaten me twice.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I think you would win. So
boy, last week I really made you took a pounding from me last week.
Yeah, well, it was all because I had awful players on Thanksgiving.
170 points. When I looked at that, I was like, oh man, where was this 5 weeks ago?
Yeah, because you did go on like a 5-game losing streak.
I was scoring like 60 points a week during
and then
that losing
and then
streak.
I was doing pretty well, but taking a look at your team, you had yesterday. I think you were right when you said you had 3 players. Yes, you had the Dallas kicker Dan Bailey. You had Des Bryant and Martellus Bennett. Martellus gave you 16 fantasy points.
Whew, nice game, Martellus.
Very nice game.
And I'm playing a horrible team.
Yes, you are. You're playing a team that's 2-11. So.
I think I checked them. I think Ryan Hoppy's won 5 games.
Yes, he has.
Does he edit his team?
No, but he's been playing teams that are worse than him, so that's why he's been getting a couple games. I'm playing my brother, who happens to be the best team in the league
record-wise
at 11-2. He will have he's locked up a first-round bye. Ryan Risky, if he wins, he will, which it looks like he's going to. He should wrap up that second bye.
Wait, do we have the same record right now?
Yes, we do.
Oh.
But it's funny because if you look at the league standings and you look at the projected playoff bracket, it says I have a bye right now, but I think that's because like my name's Cutler's Crew and C comes before F, so they put me ahead of you.
Check the settings and see what the tiebreaker is if it's total points.
I will look at that as well. In the meantime, how you feel about your team, Ryan Risky?
I'm feeling better since it's healthy. Since Megatron's come back, I've been ironically, when Megatron comes back, I start winning games again.
Okay, the playoff seeding tiebreaker is total points 4.
Oh, that doesn't help. I don't think I can get enough points to pass you.
And that's what it was set at. We could change it to head-to-head record, but then I'm just going to leave it to total points 4 because that's what it was.
Just leave that. You can't change that in week 17.
Although it doesn't really matter because I'm probably going to lose. You're probably going to win. You will be ahead of me anyway. I'll fall to 8-6. You will be 9-4.
Yeah, I think I've got to win because that Vagabonds team is horrible.
Yeah,
and they don't edit
so then you'll
team.
be 9-5, not 9-4. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see here what sort of happens in our league.
It's going to be interesting because I don't know who has the best. I know record-wise, your brother has the best team. Except I'm not sure that he actually has the best team.
I think the best team is Luke Wave.
Man, that guy was scoring. He went on a streak that he was scoring. He went I swear he scored 150 points like 5 games in a row.
I almost beat him a couple weeks ago. I was very upset that I didn't beat him. I was so close to beating him, and I ended up coming down to a Monday night game. I think that was the Saints-Packers Monday night game.
Oh,
and
that
he
game.
had a couple Saints players.
I know Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers really went on a shootout that game.
I think the player that beat me pretty bad was Marquise Colston. I think.
Oh.
So
not Jimmy Graham?
No, Jimmy Graham did good, but the reason why I lost was because Colston did really good.
Wait, is Luke Wave the guy that has Gronk and Jimmy Graham?
Before we go to break, I will check that out. Yes, he does. He has the 2 best tight ends in the league.
See, he has the 2 best tight ends, and then there's like after that, there's nothing. There's no tight ends after that.
Pretty much, because his wide receivers aren't very good, in my opinion. He's got Sammy Watkins and Martavis Bryant.
Oh,
so
that's it. Doesn't he have DeMarco Murray?
He does. Yes, he does. Yeah, he has DeMarco Murray. He's got Peyton Manning as his quarterback. I mean, how did we let this happen, Ryan Risky?
Well, I took Calvin Johnson, and I had the first overall pick. I think my first three picks were Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, and Dez Bryant.
I know. I'm confused by this.
Well, it's because Freeman's friend took Aaron Rodgers with the 7th pick of the first round, and then Peyton Manning. I think Luke Wave at the last pick of the first round. He took Peyton Manning.
By the way, Luke Wave also has Steve Smith.
Oh man!
And he has Tony Romo as his backup, so that's the guy with Tony Romo.
I think because Freeman's friend took the first quarterback, and it was Aaron Rodgers, and then Luke Wave took Peyton Manning, and then somehow he got Gronk and Graham.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. We'll talk a little more about this when we come back, and then we'll have our NFL Week 14 picks. You don't want to miss that. We have the best insight around Fantasy Fanatics, SportsTownChicago.com. Welcome back to Fantasy Fanatics on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
Before we do our NFL Week 14 picks, the rest of them anyway, because we both picked the Bears, unfortunately, and, well, that didn't work out very well.
And then on the Renegades show, Chris Hornig was able to pick the Cowboys to win.
Yeah, he picked the Cowboys, so props to him for doing that. He has more faith, or he doesn't have as much faith as we do, but now, I mean, it's pretty hard to pick the Bears these last 3 weeks, that's for sure. We were looking over our break. We were looking at our draft recap in our fantasy football league, the Fantasy Fanatics Football League, which me and Ryan Risky are league managers of. And
can you take away Freeman's rights in that league too?
Already did it.
Oh, you did?
Already did it. I think what happened is I tried to do it, but he created the league, so I couldn't delete him. But I mean, his powers are gone in my eyes. So, so round one, Calvin Johnson was taken first. That was by you, Ryan Risky. So you took Calvin Johnson.
That's actually been looking like he's been racking up numbers when he's been held. Like, notice how the games that he missed, I was losing.
That's true. So I think a lot of your team's success has to do with Calvin Johnson.
Well, he's putting up big numbers. I mean, and now my wide receiver depth has gotten so much better since he's healthy because I made the trade with Freeman for Keenan Allen, who's finally heated up.
Right.
Which I was like heavily trying to get Keenan Allen from Freeman because he was getting annoyed with Allen, and I knew he was going to start doing better. So
yeah.
Except my two starting. Tell me how bad of a draft my running backs were when I tell you my starters. I have Rashad Jennings, who I picked up off of the market because someone dropped him when he was injured, and then C.J. Anderson.
Oh man!
And the best part, every running back on my roster right now is picked up off of the market.
That is not good.
Trey Mason and then Lamar Miller are my bench running backs.
Trey Mason had a great week last week, and he was on your bench.
Boy, could you imagine if I started him?
I would have lost by like 100 points.
I would have had over 200 points if I started him.
You definitely, I think you already have scored the highest point total in our league, right?
I believe I have.
As far as a week final. Either you or I think either my brother or Luke Wave came close to. I'm not sure what your total was. Was it
170?
170. Yeah, I think the next closest was like 140 something. So
no, I know Ashish. 1 week he.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Ashish had 155 1 week.
Okay, so that would have been the previous high. So yeah, Calvin Johnson was taken first, then Adrian Peterson. But of course a lot of people had that issue. So
I'm pretty sure I mentioned this multiple times. When I was picking, it was down to Calvin Johnson and LaShawn McCoy for me.
Okay, yeah. LaShawn McCoy was taken third there, and then Jamal Charles was taken, then Marshawn Lynch, then I took Matt Forte. Then Aaron Rodgers was taken. Then Zach Stacy, which ended up being a bad bust.
I bet you wish this was a PPR league with Matt Forte.
Yes, that is a good point. I would have had a lot more points with him. Alfred Morris was taken, and then Peyton Manning was taken by Luke Wave. And then right after that, he got Jimmy Graham. So, I mean, those are obviously two really good picks. Then Eddie Lacy was taken. A.J. Green was taken. Brandon Marshall was taken. I'm only going to go through the first two rounds here. Demarius Thomas was taken by me. Drew Brees was taken. Then you took Julio
Jones.
Jordy Nelson was taken. Arian Foster, Alshon Jeffrey, and then you took Julio Jones. Yes.
Yeah, the closest to my 170 last week was Ashish's 155, and that was and he had Aaron Rodgers starting that week against the Bears, so that's why he got so many.
Yes, that's true. All right, so right now we are going to very quickly, just look at some of the key free agents in our league. Key free agent quarterbacks, Eli Manning's available, although, I mean, there's really no point. I'd rather have a guy like Fitzpatrick. Yeah.
Let's see how many points he got in our league last week. 59.
Yes, he did 59, and of course that's against an awful Tennessee team, but still, Fitzpatrick seems like he could be the future of Houston quarterbacking.
I think the future there is going to be Ryan Mallett.
Right, it could be Mallett too, but
the only serviceable free agent that I see right now in our league is Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick too.
And the Broncos D because they forced the turnovers.
The Broncos D, I mean, other than that, there's really not a whole lot
of players. I mean, there's really no running. I mean, the only running backs on the market are guys that are out, like Jerick McKinnon.
Jonathan Stewart's projected to have a good game against New Orleans.
Terrence Weston,
because New Orleans has a bad run defense, but I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust. I mean, Isaiah Crowell and Terrence West are both on the market because nobody trusts them.
Marquise Colston's an option for wide receiver, possibly.
Yeah, if you look at he hasn't been that great this year.
No, he hasn't. He had that one good week, which is the week I lost. That must have been. When was that? Maybe it wasn't Colston because I'm looking here. He didn't
against Green Bay. He only had 4 points.
Yeah, that's not the player I was thinking of. Obviously, it wasn't the player. Yeah, so I mean, as far as that is concerned, tight ends is the last thing we'll go over. Tight ends. I mean, there is literally nothing in our league. There's probably not a whole lot in other.
It was Colston.
If you're listening. Okay, it was Colston.
The guy that really got the win for him though was Gronk because it was the week he played the Bears.
Oh, yes. That would make sense.
Sammy Watkins had 3 receptions, 157 yards, and a touchdown that week. Robbie Gould got him 1 point. He had Jimmy Graham on the bench that week. Jimmy Graham had 12 points on the bench, and he started Colston, who got 4.
Okay, yeah, that's not good, obviously. I mean, as far as tight ends, there's really nobody except Jared Cook for St. Louis.
Well, there's no tight ends in general. Even on the teams, there's no tight ends other than Gronk and Jimmy Graham. I mean, Martellus Bennett's looking like a fantastic round 9 pick.
Right. All right, let's go through now our NFL Week 14 picks. We'll recap last week real quick for you.
Who won last week?
I will tell you right now. Last week, you had me beat 10-9. So,
you didn't even get Freeman's picks for last week?
No, I crossed them all out.
Did you even count to see if how many he got right?
Yeah, he did get 8 right last week. Not that it matters. So you won 10-9. I'm not going to go over who picked who, but it's just if I would have picked Green Bay over New England, then I would have tied you. Or if I would have picked Green Bay, then I would have won. If you would have picked, another team, then you would have won. Blah blah blah. It doesn't really matter. So anyway, NFL Week 14, Chicago and Dallas. We both picked Chicago, and they ended up losing. So that's that. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Who you got?
Pittsburgh.
You got Pittsburgh. I'm going to take Cincinnati, just because I think Cincinnati plays pretty well at home. I don't know. St. Louis at Washington.
St. Louis, Washington is just so bad right now. And the thing is, they don't have a good locker room. The coach doesn't like RG3.
Yeah, I'm also going to take St. Louis. That's pretty easy. The Giants at the Titans.
Giants at the Titans. I'm going to go with the Giants.
I'm going to go Giants, too. I know the Giants are really, really bad, but the Titans only have 2 wins, and they got blown out by Houston.
Are you serious? They only have 2 wins? I thought they had a couple more.
They have 2 wins. They are 2-10.
I mean, I know they lost a heartbreaker to Cleveland.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Carolina at New Orleans.
New Orleans, that Drew Brees is going to have a fun time picking apart that defense.
Carolina is so bad this year, so I
Especially
I have to go
secondary.
New Orleans just because they're a little better. I mean, New Orleans isn't much better, but Drew Brees, like you said, can definitely tear up that team.
Well, especially with a horrible secondary and no pass rush.
Right. The New York Jets at Minnesota. This is a big win for Minnesota. If they win, they're in the playoff hunt, and they're ahead of the Bears.
Well, then I definitely want Minnesota to win. The Jets are so bad right now.
They really. I mean, they're technically the worst team in football. I know Oakland is